boys and girls? It's Chapo again, coming to you on Monday, 4/20. And honestly, woo, it's kind of fucked up. I have to work on a religious holiday. I don't know. This is violating a lot of my beliefs. But hey, people need their podcasts, especially today more than ever.
Will is sick of the bald heads here in Babylon.
Today's 4/20. It's the most important holiday of the year. Just never forget that weed was given to us by God, and by that I mean the alien Greys who built the pyramids. They blessed us with this crop that just helps us so much. But I gotta say, I'm gonna call him out right now. Felix does not support 420 Blazed culture, and I think that's kind of fucked up.
Honestly, it is messed up that we haven't talked about it yet.
They should make weed illegal again, just
Jesus
for like 5
Christ.
years to make people less annoying about
Infuriating.
it.
Well, you don't even live in a state where it's legal.
It's been legal for like 6 fucking months, and like all I see is just like people who are like, "Oh, we repurposed Sour Patch Kids, but we called them Dank Patch Kids, and they have red eyes on the label." It's so fucking annoying. Like, if you thought weed was annoying when it was illegal, it's 10 times more annoying now because it's all the people who I call entourage Jews, that is, Jewish people who abandon literary tradition and embrace the culture of the show Entourage, who you would mistake for Italians but have the mouths and jaws that Jewish people we can identify each other by, and are basically evangelicals. They all invested in weed startups, and they're like, oh yeah, all they do is just make like joke strain names. They're like, oh, I call this, 500 Days of Kush.
Yeah.
I call this one Zoe Cushinel. It fucking sucks. It should be. We honestly should adopt like Singaporean drug laws.
You're not. The funny thing is
no,
you're not even in a state where it's legal yet, Felix. They have not legalized it in New York yet.
Good. That's like the one good thing Cuomo has ever done. I want to explain the entourage Jew. They exist because Jews were exposed to evangelicals in Texas, and it created this type of person. And you wouldn't think you could like make a success win thing out of Judaism because theologically it's all about dying and losing and failing, and how you can't ever really know God or any of the nature of the universe. And the only people who have even gotten like a fraction of a glimpse at the face of God are the most chosen people of the most chosen people ever. Like almost gods among men themselves. But they did it. Like they found to make the religion about, sadness and dying into, like stay in your grind. Like the Maccabees were Vitamix guys. Like they were club promoters. Like they just kept getting kicked out of clubs for taking napkins off of girls' drinks, but kept coming back.
Could they be re-educated? Could we like force them to watch A Serious Man?
No, you just have to like keep them in Texas, honestly, and New York.
Responsible for the biggest party in Dallas history.
Yes.
Felix, you say that, but yet the world's most famous Jewish man, Jesus Christ, was also like the world's first and most famous stoner.
He was definitely the world's most famous club promoter.
Well, yeah, I mean, like most stoners, he was a habitual liar. And he was like, I actually died the other day. Dead for 3 days.
It was a mistranslation.
He fell asleep.
Yeah, he fell asleep. He probably let a kid I don't know how tall they allowed buildings to be back then. Maybe out of like a second-story window and died. Like someone told him to look after a kid, and he was like, "Oh fuck." No, I have to come up with a thing I was doing for 3 days.
He got kicked out of a nightclub by a centurion, and he's like, "Yeah, they fucking killed me. I'm dead."
Yeah,
they came back to life.
Bro, I was just saying figuratively, they killed me.
There was a mistranslation of the Aramaic, and it was just actually he was like, "Yo, I'm dead off that loud Kush blount." That's
the New Testament Christ. Isa in Islam, their Jesus Christ, he did the actual thing that comes from the earth. Yes, he did fentanyl.
I knew it.
I mean, they all
fentanyl, which is indigenous to Jerusalem.
I mean, most of them kind of come from the earth anyway. Like acid doesn't, but I don't know, coke comes from a flower too.
Yeah, but like the chemicals that the acid, the components of
They're all natural. Yeah,
it's natural. It's just refined
because it's like,
in a lab.
Because cocaine requires an insane amount of shit thrown into it to make it the drug. It's not like
ether,
it's just
whatnot.
Well, then how come they just chew on the leaves and get zippy?
But it's less, you get a mild thing. It's not like going to give you the cocaine high unless you throw a bunch of battery acid in it.
Yeah, you get zippy. You get zippy, but you're not going to start like a new designer jean brand or open a restaurant. Okay, you're not going to get shit.
I don't know, man. I could chew on a lot of leaves.
I have been thinking about switching to cot lately, because just out of simplicity, you
could be a cot guy.
Yeah, just become a cot guy. Go to the Twin Cities, get a cot hookup, and just be a cot guy.
That's what they.
As I'm already like swanning around in silk robes and like reclining on chaises. I want the long opium pipe.
That's what they have on like Somali Vine. They don't have dip guys; they have cot guys.
I already dressed like an extra in a movie with an opium den scene.
Yeah, you're destined for it.
Well, that's like Hollywood used to be pro opium. Back when
that's true, yeah.
Back when Hollywood was good. And one of my favorite movies, Once Upon a Time in America, is about how opium is good because it helps you remember your friends that you love.
I have to say that if there was
after you kill them.
Obviously there probably still are opium dens in parts of this country, but I don't know where they are. I would go to like
if
a
you
nice.
know,
I would
please
go to
email
like a
chapotraphouse@gmail.com.
I want to do it at my own house.
I gotta admit it. I would go to like a hipster gentrified opium den.
Oh, what do? They smoke the opium and then they listen to Justin Bieber in their skinny jeans.
Yeah, and all the people who pack the pipes, all the workers who pack the pipes are like those the rockabilly tattooed receptionists from the John Wick movies.
They all have tattoos. They have tattoos of like revolvers and anchors on their hands. And
exactly.
They all
have Sailor Jerry shit, and they're packing my fucking bowl all night.
Now, I would love to go to the Bushwick Opium Den, where a girl with like an uneven bang, who's just like staring at me, and she doesn't have to work. Like her dad invented a new monetized form of child molestation, which is just like moving to Bushwick for some fucking reason, and is waiting for Adam to text her. Gives me my opium. I would love that.
Okay, well, this is. I mean, like, like Felix is against weed because, like, growing up in Chicago, he smokes seeds. Like, that's it. That's what you got out there in Chicago.
Yeah, they get those. That's the best weed. It gets you the most high. There's other plants inside the seed. Like, apparently they don't teach biology in New York. Learn that much.
Yeah, he was.
Felix doesn't like what other people enjoy if he doesn't enjoy it.
That's how I know that it's bad.
Felix would see like two little girls playing jacks, and if he couldn't get past threesies, he would scream at them about how it was a dumb game and he hated it.
I was actually one of the best jacks players in Cook County before thumb injury.
Yeah, Felix and like his friend, he would smoke a tulip bulb and then be like, "Oh man, I got to eat a whole deep dish pizza. I'm fucked up, dude."
No, I mean, like New Yorkers like weed because like they're sort of like. New Yorkers are like those dogs that are like bred just to lie down on women.
What? What?
Yeah,
wait,
like
what kind of dog is that?
You know
like
the
a lap dog? Like a lap dog?
Yeah,
I think they're
like a lap dog.
New Yorkers are really high strung.
Yeah,
a lot of smaller breeds are. Like Chihuahuas are insanely high strung.
Yeah, and so they smoke this fucking idiot. It's like something that some of the lesser monkeys would do. Just like smoke this idiot plant. Like
wait a second.
It makes me watch Oblivion NPC fails. But the Midwest
that's just
is
shit you
pain.
do. That's what you do, Felix.
Yeah, you actually just accidentally owned yourself.
You're describing your own behavior. And you're saying that it's the debauched behavior of weed-addled New Yorkers.
Well, okay. So Midwest is about pain. It's about like your father said 3 words to you your entire life, and you just internalize everything. So you have to do the most powerful opiate ever created, and you just get to have it because you have like a cyst in your knee from playing Pop Warner football when you shouldn't have. You have to eat food that's like created. It's not even like good. It's just like created to make you feel bad. Like eating should be an act of pain. But there's no fire without friction.
Garrison Keillor's had some line where he, like in one of his books, he wrote like from the perspective of like a bitter Minnesota Sun that wrote a 95 theses to his parents. And one of his things was, you fed me food not for nutrition or pleasure, but as ballast.
Yeah.
Just a very good description of our cuisine.
That's everything. Yeah. Everything. It just like, it will stay in your stomach until you die. You'll have to get up to piss 78 times a day because your bladder is just like, a Midwesterner's bladder is like a dog's cock. It's just bright red, and any stimulus will just make it burst out, almost burst completely out of their stomach.
Like 5 or 10 pounds of cased meat, like a brick, leaning from the intestine directly onto the bladder of any Midwesterner.
It's like how pregnancy actually makes you have to pee all the time because the baby is on the bladder. For us, it's just like meatloaf or sausage or something.
Yeah. And then you compare that to what New Yorkers eat, and their favorite thing is wet, so thin, like a paper thin piece of dough, and then shaving cream on it.
I love
cracker.
And they're like, oh, this is real pizza.
I gotta say, I have
it's a saltine. It's a fucking saltine.
I have had my mind colonized by the East Coast because I grew up on thick ass crust pizzas, not Chicago style because I wasn't from there, but like regular pizza
had Detroit style.
Detroit style, definitely. Yeah. And then even the triangle pizzas, it's like, you get the rising crust from DiGiorno, or you get the thick crust from Domino's or something. And just living in New York over the years, I am now just like, I'm like the guy in the Richard Bachman novel. I'm thinner on my fucking crusts every year. I just demand it thinner. It's like being here has colonized my brain. And now I don't even look at a pizza unless it's plain card thin crust.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, you fucking...
Because New Yorkers are like those small dogs. Literally 98% of foods will kill them.
All right. Okay. All right. Listen up, you fucking cockwaffle, Felix. Your stomach is so delicate. Yes. Your stomach is so delicate that if you drank a glass of milk right now, you would have to go to the ER.
Yeah, exactly. Shut the fuck up about
Felix
that.
has adapted from years of evolution of his ancestors just eating nothing but old cabbage out of a Cossack's garbage can. He cannot eat anything.
I just noticed that all these things Felix is describing as the horrible results of living in New York are just his own problems. Your stomach gets really delicate and you just watch video game fails all day.
I wouldn't really consider the NPC segments from the Elder Scrolls games fails. They're more like delightful pieces of accidental digital art.
I call them
delights of the joystick.
All right.
But I'd like to decolonize this space for a second. Going by Khazar theory, I'm a direct descendant of Genghis Khan.
Right.
The staples of the Golden Horde diet that I'm supposed to have, which I think is like some stuff like yak milk.
Yak
shit,
milk,
right?
yes.
Yeah, I can't get any of that here. So it's not that my stomach's weak.
The problem is you don't have enough access to horse meat, is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Horse meat and yak milk, yeah.
Exactly. Horse meat, by the way, has a better protein to fat ratio than almost anything, really.
It's good. The French eat it.
First of all, Felix, you don't even eat beef, and I know you said it's an ethical decision, but I think it probably just hurt your tum-tum.
No,
that's my theory. I'm a truther about Felix's vegetarianism.
No, I would get grass-fed beef because I could digest that very easily, but it wasn't ethical because cows are as stupid as labradoodles, and my mom has one of those, and they're delightful.
Yeah,
I've seen
your mom's stupid
friends.
dog who doesn't know how to.
Stupid dog.
He could not. She doesn't even understand the concept of fetch. It's so cute.
God, it just occurs to me how much Felix and I are really mirror opposites of one another. We really couldn't be more different. And one way is that, my body is a disaster zone, and Felix is obviously is much better than mine. But I have a stomach that could eat anything.
It's true.
I could dissolve a fucking tin can without a problem.
Yeah, you're like a vulture.
He has a tiny little. Yes, he has a stomach where if he had ice cream, he would die.
I actually have ice cream in my freezer right now.
Oh, really? What kind of soy-based, ginned up fake ice cream is it?
The real dairy kind. It's Ben and Gerald's.
Damn.
Yeah. No, I can eat milk. I mean, I can eat milk.
I can eat milk.
I can eat milk-based.
Know what you call it? Taking it into your body.
I think counterintuitively, I remember Felix like lactose intolerance is like the one thing that he didn't have when we lived together.
No, I have it. It just means I shit a lot, and I accept that.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's like
you just take your chance. It's a cost-benefit analysis.
Yeah. It's like
Okay, you twat canoes. Enough of this. You've disrespected my religion just about enough for today. I wanted to talk about my religion.
This has been like a 20-minute barrage of anti-Semitism, and Will is like, yo, don't talk about weed that way.
I wanted to talk about my religion, and then you just made it all about your fucking religion, okay?
I was needled for my beliefs. I'm going to get us on a positive track, though. I have a joke that I've prepared.
Okay.
All right.
Shoot.
I'm ready.
Okay. I did the rough draft of this on Instagram, but we're doing it again. I've worked this out a lot over the past 24 hours. You know, if you like this, maybe tell it to your family. Tell it to a girl you haven't talked to in 2 years because you just had plastic over your mattress and refused to get a cover sheet or anything. You know, send it to an estranged brother. This may thaw the ice of relations. This may bring together your community.
Send it to your dark uncle.
Yeah, send it to your dark uncle. Send it to your chaotic niece. Who cares? Just whatever. Use it to heal. Okay, here we go. Y'all ready for this? All right, yeah, pump me up. Okay, 10 years ago, we had Johnny Cash, Steve Jobs, and Andy Capp. Now we have no Jobs and no Hope. No Cap.
It's amazing.
Oh, God.
Thank you.
Did Andy?
Everyone juice this.
Oh God!
Did Andy Capp die finally of cirrhosis?
His wife murdered him.
I thought he's a cartoon character. Will, he's not real.
Okay.
I just was referring to the strip no longer running.
Okay.
Oh, did it stop? Is there no more Andy Capp?
I think it's done.
No, 1987 to present under the Creator Syndicate.
Damn.
Holy shit. I fucking suck.
Well, you can still get those delicious Andy Capp hot fries.
The hot fries, yeah.
That's what you eat if you're on parole. That's what the only meal you can have.
They're good.
On parole is Andy Capp hot fries.
Andy Capp hot fries are parole ass food. That is 100% true. Damn it, dude. You're right.
All right.
They're like one of my favorite non-Japanese snacks. They're like have a very intense salty flavor.
All right, enough.
That was in Last Samurai when Tom Cruise shows Ken Watanabe how to make Andy Capp hot fries.
Dude, it's
like
real.
A little Easter egg.
Fucking Japanese snack technology is light years ahead of ours. They have
way better.
Degrees of umami that it's like you think of like the Gardetto's Ride Ship, but then like distilled down. You're like the Gardetto's Ride Ship umami, the peak umami for American snacks is just trash compared to your average little fucking Japanese rice cracker thing that's drenched in, I don't know, probably fish oil and some amazing chemical.
Well, we don't even.
Okay, enough of this cromulent fuckstickery. Okay, people do not turn into the show to hear us talk about Jew's stomach and what snacks we're eating. All right, let's get on track.
I don't think we can.
Let's get on track. People come to the show for the news, okay? They want to hear about the news.
Talking about news.
All right, let's tighten it up. Let's tighten it up, gang. Here's the news I want to talk about.
Call me Archie Bell.
Here's the news I want to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about is Jennifer Rubin's reply to Andrew Cuomo on Twitter. Did you guys see
that? I'm gonna think about this right before I die, I think.
Sure.
Okay, allow me to set the scene for you. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo tweeted a photo of which he says Sunday dinner Cuomo style, and he's sitting at the head of the table like the fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre, surrounded by his 3 daughters and a young man, and they're all clean plate club, and it's just like it looks like they've all eaten from one personal dinner sized plate of spaghetti and meatballs. And they're all sort of vacantly staring at the camera.
It's kind of creepy, honestly.
Yeah. It's very odd. It's
kind of a Kubrick frame.
Yeah, it's very it's very symmetrically framed. There's a lot going on in the photo. But it is added to Jennifer Rubin, we've talked about her before, but I think the thing that really makes her special is that she is the most committed reply girl on Twitter. Mm-hmm. If you see a terrible tweet the chances are that she is the first response is very high. Like she.
Oh my god! I'm looking at it now. It's like Guido Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes, yeah.
What is this?
I have some of the worst repliers on Twitter. Like, no offense to them, but I think what happens is all my followers are on IPAs and Adderall 24 hours a day, and they're just like, gotta get in the riff zone and just send me some dog shit. Just some fucking crap. They're like, basically, you know what people do? They try to riff on like, you know, a food topic, and they're like, you should eat a gun because you should kill yourself, you piece of shit. And it's like, doesn't work. You're not my friend, Matt, who could say that to me.
Just a word to the wise to people who want to riff with Felix. If you give him dog shit, he does make fun of it behind your back.
It's one of my favorite things to talk about.
So just know that if you're fucking this up,
replies.
He is making fun of you somewhere.
I literally, in a voice call, sometimes with famous rock stars, making fun of my bad replies. I'm not kidding. So, you know, like, think about it. The other thing is, like, they'll send me something, like, from literally 12 years ago. It's like an impact font meme that's like, this Clayton Bigsby skit. This crack is good. Hey, dude, have you seen this? So I have really bad ones, but Jennifer Rubin is even worse than any of my repliers.
No, she is. Awful. She is so thirsty, and I swear to God, like if it's like Jonathan Chait, or like all your favorites, all the worst people, like, you know, like they're already putting out like dog shit, like it's awful, and then she'll just show up like, you know, like, how about that, John? No replies, zero replies.
Even John Chait is like probably making fun of her in a voice call.
Yeah. She is thirsty.
She is so thirsty.
She's an impression farmer.
So
the lowest thing you can be.
She says she replies to the Italian spaghetti chainsaw massacre dinner photo with, okay, this is what she replies with. In quotes, the boyfriend, referring to just like the sort of odd man out who's wearing a Helly Hansen long sleeve t-shirt. Awful. But he says here, the boyfriend looks nice. And the girls seem to have eaten their spaghetti and meatballs! Exclamation point. Just so fucking like, what, like, it's just the instinct to just insert yourself in such a way where, like, I'm really proud of your daughters for eating all their spaghetti and meatballs, Andrew.
Okay.
That's also just like literally the equivalent. Like, have you ever been on like a road trip with someone who just mindlessly out loud reads every billboard?
Yeah.
Oh, I do that.
No, what it looked to me like, it was like, was Jennifer Rubin Romeo dialing Andrew Cuomo there?
Yes.
That's what it felt like.
That's what it is.
I thought she was saying that his daughters are like stacked.
Yeah, it's like, oh, daughters eat meatballs. Very nice. Come to Delhi, be girlfriend.
Big milk pool. Thank you, Jennifer.
It's like Andrew Cuomo's like, you know, we will, you know, New Yorkers are struggling every day to flatten the curve. First reply, Jennifer Rubin. Hello, Angel Eyes, so pretty. Haha, love you.
So there are two things I thought here. I thought she was either saying the daughters were stacked, like, damn, Andrew, you made some slim thics. Or here's the other one. Here's the vibe I kind of get from Jen Rubin sometimes. This is, I may be class signaling here, but everyone's mom has a friend who's like fucking weird. Like, she's mixing pills that shouldn't be mixed. You know, when you're like, she like corners you at like a dinner party or some other bullshit, and she asked you, you know, the same boring questions you always get about school or like college or whatever, and then she just says something baffling. She just says like, "Well, I certainly hope you aren't worrying too much about condoms," and it haunts you for literally a decade.
What does she mean?
Yeah, what did that mean? Why was she
and
so
you develop
weirdly
theories, but none of them seems more plausible than any of the others.
It'll be like, was she saying I don't have sex, or is she saying like I should have a kid? Like, what? What the fuck are you talking? And there's this weird like dreamy quality to all their sentences where they never say you're always in the middle of them. Even if it's a proper sentence, you always feel like you're in the middle of some fucking bird brain thought they have. And so I would, as much as I like to pretend that Jennifer Rubin was saying that Cuomo's daughters are like nice with it, that they're baddies, I think what she's doing, and this is parody, is she is addicted to Sarah Quill.
Oh, okay.
She's the type of person who will reply by restating the exact joke that someone like Radio Free Tom made on Twitter.
Yeah, Radio Free Tom will be like, we have a president who's more, I don't know what he sounds like.
like that.
Who's more concerned with who's going to replace him on The Apprentice than who's going to replace the head of the WHO. And Jennifer Rubin will go, he cares more about where the remote is than where the country is.
Yeah.
And it's like, dog.
She's riffing. She's riffing.
You are the fucking queen of the riff lane.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
No, and it's like, it's funny.
Killing it, babe.
If you go to her Twitter account and like click over to the replies tab and just see all her replies to people, she never gets a bite ever.
No.
It's really impressive. She never, ever gets to go to Riff City. And like
Neera Tanden does riff with her because she's on the same frequency.
Oh, Neera's fucking lost it today. She had a little accident in the replies.
The Neera thing. The Neera thing that I saw today.
She said the N-word.
No,
no.
What?
The thing I saw today was like, okay, so Trump came out with that new web video where like Obama and his boys are watching TV, and then like a Joe Biden ad comes on, and it's him just babbling about his leg hair, and like his boys look at him, and like Obama, it's like, it's one of those like put the head on another body, and like it's like pretty well done, and then Obama just sort of shrugs and looks at his boys who are like clowning on him, like, what do you want from me?
And it's like best we could do.
It's really, it's very funny. It's a very funny video.
It's a funny video.
It was a very good ad. And like someone was like talking about that, and like Neera replies to her like, "How dare you amplify this dangerous message?" And it's like,
he's the president of the United States.
He's the president.
He is president. He is the president of the United States, and that horse has bolted long ago.
What do you think? To set these parameters. It's not like if we don't talk about it, no one will notice.
Yeah, you just have to pretend that he's not there. It's weird. Like, she's not, I don't think Neera is white, but she has such powerful wasp energy.
Well, she's a high-caste Brahmin lady.
We can't, if we don't talk about it, it won't come into existence. It's like that weird wasp superstition where it's like, they're called curse words because they used to believe that saying them would actually curse someone.
Right.
It is very wasp because it's like treating the president of the United States, like probably the most famous living person right now.
Yes.
Just treating him like he's your son who has a cleft palate that you don't allow out. Just don't talk about him. Just don't allude to him at all. Don't talk about anything he does.
And if someone brings him up, you are... The person, by the way, was actually criticizing Neera. They said, "Good job, Neera." And she responded with, like, "Why are you amplifying this?" Which is like, anytime you criticize me, you're helping Donald Trump. And it's like,
because it's a two-way race. Yeah, he won.
He's the president.
He's the president.
Dude, guys, I take this very seriously, and I think it's time to deplatform the White House.
I agree.
Well, she has to say that because there's no arguing against the content of the ad. Because the ad is just saying what everyone knows.
Yeah.
And like,
he's an old, demented man who no one wants to be the nominee, but he was the fallback position to stop Bernie.
And like, I hate the fact that it is officially a Trump ad, because literally anyone could have made that ad, and it lands
accurate.
It lands
is it an official
perfectly.
Ad?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it has the Trump pen shit at the end of it.
Agree that he retweeted it, which is basically the official seal.
Yeah,
of approval.
that's true. When I say official, I mean like it was produced by a campaign under his ownership or oversight.
It wasn't, because
which I don't think it was, but official doesn't matter anymore.
No,
it's a
absolutely
DIY. Like the only way when all of these like techno utopians in the early 2000s were talking about like, the internet is going to democratize information. Literally only for right-wingers. Yeah. Only right-wingers found a way to make that work. It doesn't work for us.
Money sure helped.
My guess is it was produced by one of his meme wizards, like Carpe Donkum or something.
Compar Dorkum, yeah.
Yeah, one of those geniuses. And like that,
you can see every individual pixel in this video, so you know it was made by a 50-year-old.
That Carpe Donkum guy is one of the stupidest motherfuckers on earth.
I think he's epic. Okay, he's a meme on you.
Felix, it's either someone who's 50 or someone who is 13.
Yes.
Either way.
I think a 13-year-old there would be...
Okay, 11.
It was a baby who did it.
It was that giant baby. It's that terrible giant baby.
Baby is Carpe Donkum.
You just don't like Carpe Diem because you're a cock and you're gonna get memed on.
Oh no! I'm gonna get memed on.
The point is, regardless of the provenance of it,
that motherfucker got invited to the White House.
Yeah,
I don't know who this is.
This country rocks.
I mean, shit. If only Bernie Sanders had, won, we could have gone to the White House.
Hell yeah, we would be memeing on people in the White House.
We would have dabbed on them in the White House. But the point is, regardless of the provenance of it, the video lands and is like instantly relatable and funny to like literally anyone. Contrast that with
unarguable.
and impossible to argue against like what the joke is there, and contrast that with the rollout of Biden's new like web campaign ad, which is just basically like, listen, Mac, it's the Chinese. Trump is rolling over for the...
That was mind-blowing.
Biden told Trump he should insist on having American health experts on the ground in China.
I would be on the phone with China and making it clear, we are going to need to be in your country. You have to be open. You have to be clear. We have to know what's going on.
But Trump rolled over for the Chinese. He took their word for it. Trump never got a CDC team on the ground in China. And the travel ban he brags about? Trump let in 40,000 travelers from China into America after he signed it.
And the thing that he said, too, is that Trump now agrees with his original recommendation that we essentially need to send like an aggressive envoy of scientists to monitor China or something.
Yeah, his whole thing is China, you got to let our people in there. Let our people get in there. Let them root around in there.
The most shot men ever. Sending like armed scientists to China to observe it.
It's so perfect because it's the solution of someone who has only been a mindless hawk their entire career.
Right.
Every problem is solved by U.S. military intervention. So even this, which is a fucking unprecedented pandemic, send in the Marine doctors.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's the movie Armageddon. Okay, so asteroid hurtling towards Earth. Instead of teaching astronauts to operate a drill, they get drillers and teach them to be fucking astronauts.
Must be way harder.
It's harder to be an astronaut.
It's harder to be an astronaut.
Yes, and this is Joe Biden's thinking, where he's like, okay, there's a disease that we need to fight. Instead of, just having scientists and medical researchers work on this, we're going to like militarize them and train them in something that is complete. I don't know. The metaphor doesn't actually work, but it all comes from a conception of like, well, the problem is we need to fight the virus. Like the problem is we need to drill in the thing. It's like, well, no, actually the bigger issue is going to space. And the bigger issue is like researching the disease.
Well, I disagree with Biden's plan because I think Marines are the smartest people on Earth, and they can be taught how to be scientists.
Right. That's what he wants to do, though.
Yeah.
For sure that's what he wants to do.
What blows my mind with this, what absolutely blows my mind with this, is that, so their whole thing is they're going to win. Basically, the presidency is going to come down to who people in aggregate blame for this. Do they blame China? Do they blame just act of God? Or do they blame Trump? If they blame Trump, Biden will win. It's just a fact. And if they blame China, then Trump has a fighting chance. So, of course, Trump talks about China all the time. And their idea that instead of just ignoring that because it's an obvious distraction, trying to either, if you want to just be tactical about it, talk about what he actually fucked up, like his actual bad decisions and his, like the record of them ignoring it for a month and all that, and all the times he's told people it wasn't a big deal and then it fucking bit him in the ass. Or get grand with it and propose an alternative to what we're getting now, which is this awful corporate bailout and like frontline people being forced to risk their lives for minimum wage. How about an alternative to this awful thing where like the small business loan dispensary is just getting looted by every fucking corporation that just wants to pay more executive fucking bonuses? How about an alternative or something? Instead, no, we're going to talk about China on Trump's terms and make a question of is it or is it not China's? It's like it's the perfect distillation of idiot Democrat brain.
He's not even like dog whistling correctly, though, because like that doesn't appeal to any of that. Like, I don't know. Jen Pan, who writes at the New Republic, was just like, who does he think that this is going to be interesting to? Like the people who are already against, people who are already against China thinks that he was late to blame them and think that he's like riding on Trump's coattails. And everyone else is like, why are you talking about China? We need fucking tests. He's trying to appeal to people who will never be amenable to him and alienating people who want to like him for the love of God.
But I mean, Biden said this during the campaign, is that his strategy, in so many words, he said his strategy in the general election would be to run right and to run towards getting Republicans instead of going to the left. Like, that's why he kept talking about how he thought there were reasonable Republicans and he could work with them. He was doing that. And now that he's the nominee, he's doing what he promised. This campaign is going to be about getting those suburban Republicans that because the theory is, yes, they went with Trump last time, but they've turned on him because of how gauche he is. And we've seen that in the results of the midterms and in the primary a lot. And it's true, a lot of those suburban areas swung hard against Republicans. So maybe that's where the votes are, and that's where they're going to go and look for.
That's the literal definition of insanity. It's trying
absolutely. They're just going to keep banging their head against the wall because that's the only way they can go, because they cannot deliver on left-wing promises now. That's in a moment when the capital is this unstable.
I thought the Democrats could do worse than jumping into the culture war argument of like whether to call it the Chinese virus or not, which is like, yeah, it's fucking stupid and bad to call it that, but like literally making a whole thing about how making your whole media cycle being Democrats saying that you shouldn't do that.
Right.
That's literally
shut up.
I mean, it was just like a loser of a cycle, and it was like sort of a gift to even like sort of Ben Shapiro types, like GOP media types who aren't explicitly pro-Trump, even though they support everything he does, to go, oh, look at this is what this is their solution to say that you shouldn't call it the Chinese virus. I thought they couldn't do worse than that. But this is actually shittier because, anyone... I mean, I just want to say if you're an any country hawk, you're a fucking loser. If you're a hawk and you don't work for Raytheon or you're not like a politician who's bought... Yeah, you're a fucking moron. You're a complete cuckold idiot, fucking bowed dumbass who's just a drone who would allow their spine to be harvested by the military-industrial complex. You're a fucking sucker. But, those people are just gonna vote for Trump. Like, the guys who wear the battleship hats...
Cold War veteran.
The Tom Clancy Brigade.
The Tom Clancy,
those guys are all voting for Trump.
Yeah, lawnmower dads. Riding mower dads.
Yeah. It's just complete fucking idiocy. And also, Joe Biden's uniquely weak optically on the China issue because of all the fucking money that Hunter
China gave Hunter a giant diamond.
He got a diamond.
He got a huge diamond from China.
If you think that Trump isn't going to bring up his diamond presents.
You really want to talk about the paper trail of Trump ignoring the fucking thing for a month while they were telling him how big of a deal it was, and just go back to him defunding? How about the fact that they're hijacking PPE from the states and selling it back to them through private vendors?
Yes.
Literal war profiteering directed by the White House.
But that is a legitimate, a paper trail that is horrifying. The other story involves a diamond. It's a real Uncle James. He's the all Trump Hunter Biden is the real Uncle James.
Hunter, where's the diamond? Hunter, where's the diamond? And that's the hashtag. And that's it. Hunter, where's the diamond?
You don't even have to talk about any of the economic malfeasance.
What about diamond? Diamond Hunter, where's you got the diamond? And then he could bring out a fake, would be like, this is what it looks like, folks.
He's smoking crack out of it. Yes.
It's so shiny. It's so shiny.
So
it's a fucking gift. They can't do anything but give them gifts. I don't know. The China hat though, it was interesting because it did show I'm not a Biden doomer. I think it's very possible that he's win, and I've been vocal about that since it was clear he's going to run. But it does give me this insight that the Biden campaign is not exactly the Hillary campaign. They have the same basic idea that we're going to replace the base of the Democratic Party with rich suburbanites. But in practice, it did make me think,
if Biden gets elected president, and this may be like maybe one of the most affirmative cases you could give for him, it would eviscerate the liberal media identity politics industrial complex. Because Biden world has no use for those people. Like, Democrats just spent a week being like, don't call it the Chinese virus. Joe comes out there and he's like, we're gonna send them back, Jay.
No, he comes out and says, listen, Mac, like, Donald Trump says he's a good businessman, but he doesn't understand that the Celestial is inscrutable.
Yeah.
They're mysterious and untrustworthy in their ways.
He's gonna come out in white dreadlocks.
Yeah. Biden, and this is an aside, but like, so everyone was talking about how this entire primary was a referendum against Bernie and Bernie's ideas, and depending on how much of a fucking loser you are, a podcast you don't like. But if that's true, isn't it also true that this is also a referendum on everything the liberal media has lectured everyone about since 2014? That no one cares about that shit.
Well, not only that, not only
Biden's a complete refutation of all.
Not only do they not care about it, they're all those same people, those same scolds are now fucking lining up to fucking hector you about voting for Joe Biden.
Not to support
They're
Joe
trying.
Biden.
They're trying though. You see them trying to put the fucking identity politics on Corona. Like they're all trying to hustle their ID Paul angle into an epidemic. And I've seen people who were always just sort of very gentle-hearted, just very live and let live. And they're like, oh, well, that's important to people. And they were maybe sort of naive about what the cynicism level of these hacks are. I've seen them look at stuff that says coronavirus is gendered. And they're just shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
No, yeah, it's done. The backlash.
We tried it your way. Shut the fuck up.
No, yeah, people are done with that shit. I mean, and Biden himself, Biden is a one-man wrecking crew for all the Biden.
You might call him a bull in a china shop.
Yeah. Well, Biden ended Me Too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. He did.
He did. Do not get mad at us for saying that. That's just a fucking observation of reality.
And you know what the funny thing about that
it's almost like those people that were most invested in it didn't really care.
Well, what we're seeing now is that all of it can be utilized. All of it can be weaponized. And if it can, then you can't trust it. If all of it is for sale, then where is the handle to grab onto?
There's one thing that they can't do anything with, and that is socialism. You can't do anything with it.
It really is. It's the non-negotiable one. Everything else is up for bid.
Look at the way the Times is covering the Biden Me Too shit. Is they waited 3 weeks to run a front page article about it, literally the day Bernie suspended his campaign. And where they're really covering it is on the op-ed pages. And the pitch perfect example of that is Michelle Goldberg in the New York Times, again, whose husband was the Liz Warren Liberty Green graphic designer.
Great work.
Yeah,
great work. That was dope.
Really good shit. She said, look, the thing about these allegations is that they're being used to troll Me Too. And I'm like, well, even if that's true, it's because it's so fucking easy. How could anyone not? It's just right. It's glaring in fucking front of you.
Maybe you cobbled together something that was fundamentally shallow, apolitical, motivated by careerism and media spectacle and a bunch of celebrity gossip posing as feminist politics. And guess what? It's easy to fucking poke holes in that.
No, Felix is totally right. The Biden campaign has not only killed Me Too, but killed all intersectional politics. Because he is not running the intersectional campaign. And he's proven that you don't need to, and not even actual non-white voters don't even give a fuck about it.
Guess what? They don't.
Yeah. That's for Elizabeth Warren voters who are the whitest people in the fucking Democratic Party. So,
but let Sean McElwee tell you what Bernie should have done, how he should have appealed more to the very voters that Warren did, which got her third place in her own fucking state.
Okay. Sean. Did you guys see this is another great tweet this week, and it's actually a pitch, it's just a remake of an earlier one that from the same person. Amanda Marcotte's tweet about how like if your boyfriend doesn't like Elizabeth Warren, they secretly think that your job is stupid and don't respect you. And like they may say that they're a feminist, but when the kids come along, they'll expect you to like stop going to work and take care of the kids, which is like a very
First of all, most jobs are stupid.
Yes,
second of all, nobody reading Amanda Marcotte tweets has a boyfriend.
No, but it's like it's this weird like outmoded thing about like, yep, soon as the kid comes along, you better be full time. It's like she said like
most of all, most women I know would kill for that. I'm sorry. It's so out of date. I'm sorry.
The big problem, it really does show that like the chief problem with modern feminism at this point is because it is so associated with like going to work as liberation that now having a job which is not inherently exploitative, it is liberatory.
Yeah. Well, work will set you free, Matt.
Exactly. And that is literally poisonous to class politics.
Well, it happened during there's a reason that happened, though, because it was sort of developed during a post-war period when actually jobs were kind of good. You like went into the office 30 hours a week. You've seen Mad Men. You were drunk all the time, and then you went home with a great pay.
You could fuck your secretary. It was awesome.
Yeah. So they could be forgiven for thinking that, like, oh, well, you know, that there are good jobs. That does look like fun. We're going to get to do that. But instead, the economy changed because that was like a superficial post-war bubble. And now they're like, yeah, you do have careers and you're working 70 hours a week for like garbage, or you're unemployed or underemployed or completely overemployed. You're treated like shit. You have no rights, just like the boys. Aren't you happy? Aren't you fucking happy?
And that's because of the dangerous like blinders that were on the movement because of its middle class nature. Because the joke of it all is that the whole time that all these middle class women were pining for like jobs, working class women were working, and it sucked. If they had any knowledge of like what working class women did, they would be like, oh, working is not necessarily this great thing.
Well, they literally, so they knew that those women had jobs, but they weren't talking about those jobs. I mean, like, it was acknowledged even. Whatever. The women in my family always worked, they were garbage. But if you read like Friedan, The Feminine Mystique, when she gets to the point of prescription, she was like, well, okay, but who is going to run the house?
Yeah.
And her solution was to hire female domestic labor, those other women.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the unspoken thing in the tweet about like, oh, like, we'll expect you to take home, care of the kids as soon as they come along. Was just like,
well, somebody's got to take care of the kids.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just seems to assume that like you'd be hiring someone to do that, or maybe you could say that like, well, maybe the husband would stay home rather than. But then again, like, yeah, a single income household, like, yeah, that's a thing that's very easily attainable to a lot of people.
We've created an economy where that's not even a viable option.
And never does socialized healthcare factor into any of this shit.
And I just love that she's reworking like the famous John Waters. She's reworking the famous John Waters quote where like, if you go home with someone and they don't have Elizabeth Warren's on their bookshelf, don't fuck them.
And of course, this is wildly classist because guess what? The majority of men have no opinion on Elizabeth Warren either way. They don't know who she is or give a shit.
No, yeah, they care about like what's Deadpool gonna get up to in this next movie. They're right. Guys, girls, whoever. Look, if you go home with someone they don't have a Deadpool poster up, don't fuck them.
If they want to release the Snyder cut, don't fuck them.
All right. So I want to switch gears for a second and talk about like the other big thing that's going on. I mean, not big thing. But just the thing that interests and amuses me the most about what's going on in the country right now, and that would be the totally spontaneous grassroots protest, wink, wink, to reopen the states and end the quarantine lockdown, reopen Michigan, liberate Michigan, liberate the states where you've got basically people showing up at state houses using like Guy Fawkes masks as PPE.
Yeah.
Just like, screaming at cameras about how like famously there is a guy who is in tears because he couldn't buy lawn fertilizer.
I gotta fertilize the lawn.
And he's like, you're telling us that you can't buy grass seed?
Literally weeping because he can't buy shit.
Yeah. And like there was the woman who's like, oh, I can't get my hair done, and like her roots are like
oh no,
way out there. And okay, here's what I want to say about this. I've seen like a lot of like contrarian busybodies scolding that like actually the left shouldn't make fun of these people because they're workers, or like you should have sympathy for these people. Please jack me off to completion. Like these people
owners.
These people are rich assholes.
They want to open them so that their employees can risk getting corona.
Okay, right. Even if that weren't the case, I'm sorry. Hundreds of Americans turning out in like public to like cough and gob on each other in the middle of a pandemic to demand that like they can be able to buy shit again. I'm sorry, that's funny, and it's just indicative of like everything stupid about America. Like I'm saying, there are no other countries where this is happening right now. Did you see the clip of this one guy? It was a nurse in scrubs doing a one-man counter protest, standing in front of traffic of this woman in a tank-like SUV, honking her horn at him, and then like she just crawls out of the window like some kind of fucking gargoyle to scream at him about how he should move to China if he likes communism so much. And that's the guy who's probably going to be like fucking ventilating her next week.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
and she had a sign that said free land.
Free land.
And I was like, this is a little on the nose.
I do have a few questions about this because I haven't been reading that much into this because it's not in FT or Business Insider.
Well, it's a made-up story
or
that's just for television.
Right.
It's all ginned up. It's like a couple handfuls of people.
I think it's a couple handfuls of people, and I assume they're either knowingly or unknowingly acting on someone's behalf.
Yes.
Oh, yes. No, it's absolutely all AstroTurf.
Because I will say, I mean, there are people who are like, look, I need my fucking job back. I want to like take my chances and ease the quarantine. And I mean,
those are not these people. Those are not these people.
But those are one. Those are not these people, and two, where do these people come from? Because like rugged individualists tend to not be very good at organized protests. They're usually, like the Tea Party, there usually tends to be an infrastructure behind it.
Yes.
Well, obviously that's the case. Yes. Like, I mean, these are Astro. I'm sure like the Kochs or Mercers or
like,
DeVos family
are already being exposed. Yeah.
To Amber's point, like there's sort of a similar thing in the UK where there's a bunch of like weird tweets from like, I don't want to say bot because that term's been just beaten into meaninglessness, but like very clearly AstroTurfed NHS accounts with stock photos of supposed NHS workers. All their tweets are sent from Hootsuite, which is like a mass tweeting tool where they're talking about how we should do herd immunity and all this shit. And that does, like, I think, like always, we know what the play for like the right wing fake populist governments of the world will be. And as always, Bolsonaro just gave it away quicker than everyone else because he's the dumbest and was just walking around into huge crowds saying that he doesn't have it despite everyone he's ever known having it and hugging and kissing him all the time. But that's going to be their thing. It's like AstroTurf protests about opening back up again. But the thing that's awful is like, yeah, those are our two main options. Like you have on one side, you have people going, no, everyone stay locked down forever, and we'll give you a rebate for 13.8% of your income if you went to a state school within the last 5 years, and you can buy Cobra for your health insurance, and maybe we can give you your fucking half of your unemployment insurance through T-bills. And then the other side just saying, open it all up, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah, those are the only options you're getting. Yeah.
I think what's going on here, and like, to Amber's point, like, yes, the longer this goes on, like, if you're not getting a paycheck, it's going to get to the point where like you fucking like you need an income, you need money to survive. And like the idea that you can't or aren't allowed to work is going to be a problem. And then like that decision to, not observe social distance or quarantine is going to be like, one that will be harder to scold people for breaking. Everyone at these fucking protests, they're not demanding that they go back to work. They're demanding that other people go back to work for them.
Yeah.
So delivering them shit, giving them shit. Literally said he wanted to go to the restaurant so that he could get free refills. So they didn't have to get 2 iced teas through the drive-thru.
Yeah. And like, the images from the protests are ghoulish in the extreme, because it is
my
like,
favorite thing about it is
it's the MAGA mom screaming in front of a Baskin Robbins about like, I'm giving me my 31 flavors back. This is tyranny.
And the thing I think is most interesting are the guys who bring the guns, because it's like, what is the gun for? Right? Because like, what do you want here? Because obviously they're mad about tyranny, but like, it's the fact that the matter is at this point, it's because there's a virus, dude. All right, say they let you reopen your tanning salon or your fucking cheesecake factory. People aren't going to come. People still think that there's a dangerous fucking thing out there. So what are you going to do? Go to their houses and force them to come to your fucking restaurant at gunpoint? Like, what are you going to shoot? It's just there to be, it's a pacifier. It's just like, I know, even though my life has been radically constrained in the last month in a way I never thought possible, I'm actually still a free being because I have this gun. And if it was really bad, I'd be shooting somebody. But it's like, motherfucker, that's never going to happen. You're just going to hold on to that thing as they put you through the corn chute.
But Matt, like, all of these people are like, I wish a mother would guys.
Oh yeah,
of course. That's America.
They exist in that perpetual state.
It's all fake.
And the idea that like, okay, look, like we're in a situation now where like, state and federal governments are like issuing restrictions on things that are like you would otherwise take for granted in your daily life. I mean, again, these restrictions are not anything approaching what I would call tyranny, and should probably be a lot more strict, honestly, if we're serious about, stopping this disease. So I can imagine that, like, in a country like America, angry people would show up at state houses and gripe about it. That's fine, and even an instinct that, like, I kind of sympathize with. There's something so ghoulishly evil and singularly, like, identified with America that these people are yelling, screaming, and protesting like healthcare workers. That's who they're fucking angry at, or like doctors and nurses.
If it wasn't for doctors, there wouldn't be a crisis. People would just start dying, and you'd be like, "Oh, that's weird."
I didn't have any of these problems till someone told me about them.
It's like exactly like, "Oh, my bowling team's all dead. That's weird," but everything would still be open. And that would be fine. And because all these people have killed God and put themselves in the place of God, they can't die. So it won't be them by axiom. So reopen the shit so that I can just keep going.
I mean, like this again, like this is one of these phenomenons going on right now. Like, in the midst of a plague that's killing thousands. That it's like the Mr. Show roller coaster sketch. Yep. Like people are just like lining up to fucking die for this shit. And I'm sorry, like if you're telling me that I can't think that that's funny because of some like vague like leftist reason, it's like please eat my shit.
Well, the thing is,
just shut the fuck up.
Fucking get real problems. If you're mad that people are laughing at something that is absurd, get real problems.
Well, the big problem is that these are the people who feel free to protest right now, even though this is an absolutely unacceptable situation. Forget, like, obviously the argument, they're trying to resolve the contradiction at the heart of this thing between the virus and the economy by saying, well, we'll just pretend the virus isn't real. That's not a realistic answer. There has to be a realistic answer that takes into account the reality of the virus and the economy and their conflict, but says, well, we need people to still be able to fucking live. What are we going to do? What are we going to do about rent? What are we going to do about fucking about debt? What are we going to do about people's ability to sustain their lives while they hide in place or do life-threatening work on the front line? That's a real argument that has to be had. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the concerns of a very thin sliver of our exurban bourgeoisie who want to get Fuddruckers back opened.
Yeah. Well, it's the petty bouge spectacle, though. Yes. And that always makes the news, man.
It's the news is basically that. It's what concerns these fucking Babbitts.
Do you ever get the impression, though, that it's just like people who work at the New York Times bitter at their one trashy cousin that always embarrasses them, and that's why these people
or like their hometowns and stuff.
Yeah, that's why these people are like completely fixated on these like totally marginal like spectacles.
They're trying because they have an anxiety of identification and they need to separate themselves.
I'm not like those white petty bouge idiots.
Correct. Exactly.
All right, you guys want to close out here with a little reading series, a little sample, a little something.
It's been a while since we've done a reading series.
It's been a while.
Been a while since we've done a reading series.
Okay, this is a reading series debut from a guy who's rapidly become one of the most annoying pieces of shit in existence. I'm talking, of course, about Mehdi Hasan of The Intercept, who has become the leading left-wing, scold about just like trying to just buffalo people into like you absolutely have to vote for Biden. Guy. And he recently just rolled out Noam Chomsky to make the argument that Noam has made for basically every election as long as I've been alive.
The only thing about Noam Chomsky anyone's ever supposed to listen to is what he tells people to vote for Democrats.
And you know what? Like, I'm not going to badmouth Noam. I think basically he's a saint.
I think he's overrated, but he's a sweet man. And also, he did say the smartest thing that people said about working class rationality, which was listen to sports talk radio. People think about strategy. Normal people do every day.
But yeah, he just did an interview with Noam Chomsky where Noam says the thing he says of every election, which is like, if you're in a swing state, it's incumbent on you to pull the lever for the Democrat, the lesser of two evils as kind of harm reduction. I mean, he said that about Mitt Romney, who he said, could start world nuclear Armageddon, you know what I mean? So no smoke with Noam, but again, like Matt is right. This is the only thing Noam Chomsky has ever said that surprise somehow finds purchase in the media. Interesting. Yeah. So this is Mehdi Hasan, and I said he's become just so insufferable.
He's always sucked.
Okay. Oh no, he's always been insufferable. Well, I guess
Mehdi Hasan is. I don't want to give away the game too much here, but Mehdi is one of those people who the activity he loves the most is job interviews. And that could be the only activity he likes. His entire life is one.
So here we go.
He's tried to work for the Daily Mail.
Yeah.
He's a sniveling climber and always was, and was transparently so. I'm sorry if you got scammed into thinking he was ever good because he parroted some bullshit. But his career was pretty obvious.
Let's be honest. If you got scammed by hearing a British accent.
Yes. That works for a lot of people. He owned guys. Like Jon Stewart got a lot of his original worship around the fact that he would own conservatives.
Well, Jon Stewart was also a fantastically skilled comedian.
It's funny.
Very funny, great delivery, great everything. I don't know what positive qualities Mehdi is supposed to have.
I never understood it either.
Just along those lines, I do want to add along the job interview lines because I know he mixed it up with at least some of you on Twitter the other day. Would it surprise you to learn that he and his people pitched us hard when his podcast started to come on and get some of that?
No.
I still have the emails.
Cool.
Okay. So here we go.
Next
you didn't inform me of that opportunity for me to jump at the chance?
Oh, Chris, you're fired.
Yeah.
All right, here's.
I can't wait. I can't wait. If Biden wins, I can't wait to see what Mehdi does. Mehdi may end up. He may end up just getting out of the politics business. He may just end up hosting the new Mansers.
Or he could be White House press secretary.
Here's Mehdi.
Sky's the limit.
Here he is, writing in The Intercept. Dear Joe Biden, here's why you should.
Not reading this, dude. I guarantee you.
Yeah. Dear Joe Biden, here's why you should pick Elizabeth Warren as your running mate. And I want to preface this. I want to preface this by saying, number one, Elizabeth Warren was asked about this and immediately said yes, absolutely.
Yep,
Please pick me, Joe. And here's the thing about
disgusting.
this. I just want to preface this by saying, I agree with this 1,000%. I want him to pick no one for vice president other than Elizabeth Warren, because this is the most fitting punishment for her, and it's what her and all of her fans actually deserve, which is to serve as Joe Biden's vice president and cover for the bankruptcy bill part 2. She's going to come out there and have to fucking flack for that shit. So this is what she deserves. So I really, really hope Joe Biden does pick Elizabeth Warren.
Literally being on the other side of the table that she was on during the first collapse in 2008 and 2009.
So here we go. Dear Joe Biden, if you win in November, you will be 78 years old at your inauguration, the oldest person ever to enter the White House. Sorry to be blunt, but the actuarial tables suggest there is a 1 in 5 chance you may not make it to the end of your first term. Keep doing those workouts. Voters, therefore, will be paying more attention than normal to who you decide to pick for your vice presidential candidate, an heir apparent. And unlike most previous presidential elections, who you choose to nominate as your running mate in 2020 really does matter. It could be one of the most consequential VP picks in modern American history. So far, you said you plan on picking a woman. And if some of the leaks from your campaign are to be believed, These are the four of the top runners and riders: Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, Stacey Abrams, and Amy Klobuchar. All of them are formidable politicians. Harris, the skilled inquisitor. Abrams, the voting rights champion.
Yeah. Oh my God! And the Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, so she got owned. And she got owned at voting rights. She lost.
As we've just seen in this primary, if the one things the Democrats are really credible about, it's like, free and fair elections.
Free and fair and open elections.
And certainly access to voting is something that they're very concerned about.
Hey, you can go vote if you want to jump over this tiger pit.
So here she goes. Blah, blah, blah. But it is Warren who stands out from the rest. If you were to offer her the VP slot, the senator from Massachusetts had said without hesitation that she would accept it.
No, there was none there.
And you should make that offer and make it soon. Of course, I have my own agenda here. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, shit.
No. Yeah.
Oh he goes, like plenty of others on the left, the reason I want Warren on the ticket is to keep you in check while continuing
that'll do it.
Yeah, when has a vice president ever kept a president in check?
Yeah.
So he goes, while continuing to push for policies like universal health care, an end to the filibuster, and a wealth tax. She's a progressive, you're not. But here's the thing. There are 3 simple reasons why you should want her as your running mate too. Number 1, she's popular. Yes, you sound
what?
Yeah.
People love Liz Warren.
Yeah. Third in her own state. Liz Warren is like one of the only picks I can think of who would actually take away from Joe's electoral map.
It's true. She underperformed Hillary when she went for a re-election in 2018. She underperformed what Hillary did in Massachusetts in 2016.
Mehdi is aware of this, folks. He says, she's popular. Yes, you soundly beat her in the Democratic presidential primaries.
That's syntax, yeah.
Includingly, humiliatingly, on her home turf of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Consider the latest polls, however. According to Axios, a new survey in the key swing states of Michigan and Wisconsin, commissioned by Donors of Color Action, found Warren to be the overall candidate to beat among potential vice presidential nominees. Meanwhile, a YouGov Economist nationwide poll of Democratic voters found one woman emerges as the clear choice, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, who leads in every age group with both men and women. She also happens to be the 6th most popular Democrat in the United States and the most popular woman in the party.
6th most popular, huh?
Warren.
All right, now we're talking. She is the 6th most popular Democrat.
Yeah. She roundly won the presidential elections for the AV Club.
Come November, and especially against Donald Trump and his MAGA cult, you're going to need an enthused and energetic Democratic base.
That ain't gonna. Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. Also, cult pot kettle. Come on.
And also, I mean, if the number one issue is having an enthused and energetic Democratic base and bringing in a large chunk of the party who's otherwise alienated. Well, I don't know. You can make the offer to Bernie, but that's not going to happen.
You blew it.
So he goes here, yet despite your impressive primary victories, only 1 in 4 of your own supporters say they are very enthusiastic about your candidacy. Your campaign rallies were, let's be honest, pitiful affairs, while Warren pulled in overflow crowds of cheering fans and selfie takers.
Did a little better than her generally in terms of getting crowds. I can't remember his name though.
Warren mastered the art.
Michael Bennett.
Warren has mastered the art of drawing thousands to her rallies, noted the Associated Press last September. That was before any vote took place. Right, she did not master the art of drawing thousands to the polling locations to vote for her at all. So here we go.
Also, Warren's events outside of a lot of urban centers and college, they got to be quite anemic, and this was before her Super Tuesday collapse. There were the media, because Liz Warren was the media candidate, and by media, I don't mean a candidate that they wanted to win. I mean the official candidate of fucking irritating media strivers, because she represented every issue they fucking pretend to care about.
Yeah.
They would talk about every time a Liz Warren rally was well attended, or a Warren selfie line was well attended, which was, there were quite a few of that. But yeah, no one drew crowds like Bernie, and Liz had a lot of events where there was more staff than people there to see her.
Warren has charm, people skills, and a common touch.
Yeah. People skills? Is she going to be the fucking like head of HR at a goddamn J.C. Penney? What the fuck?
Yeah, are we electing a toddler?
Working class white men may be your biggest fans. College-educated white women are hers. Yeah, that's a group that the Democratic Party really needs to shore up right now.
Yeah, right. No.
College-educated white women.
Literally their quadrant.
Okay, and then he goes, and the misogyny she's had to endure so far may not be a problem in the general election. And by the way, the word misogyny contains a hyperlink, and I click through, and it's to a Moira Donegan article in The Guardian. So that's
okay,
just
like literally, you can make the case that Hillary Clinton has been subjected to sexism throughout her career. You can say that. I don't care, but she has. No one has been mean to Liz Warren. No one.
Well, I have, but, aside from
us
that.
Personally, but not in gendered ways. I mean, I have. But, like, anytime she was ever, like, bullied with regards to her gender, it was by other women. So, I don't know what the fuck you cannot compare. Again, say what you will about Hillary. She kills people, she's evil, she eats children. But, like, she actually did experience a degree of very intense, virulent sexism from the public and from the media. But this never happened to Liz Warren. This was this never happened.
We've been over this a million times before. What Elizabeth Warren faced was the fact that she lied about being Native American for most of her adult life and was also a Republican for most of her adult life. And basically, the critique on her was that she was a phony who didn't actually believe in the things that people thought she did, which is been borne out as 1,000% true.
It certainly would not.
It's not gendered to point that out.
That's certainly not the filter people would look at her becoming Biden's VP through. Like, they're not going to be chumps like Mehdi Hasan and be like, wow, look at Elizabeth Warren. Going to keep old Joe honest. Just like, there's Elizabeth Warren being a fucking snake again.
Yes, exactly. No, it's not like her being Joe Biden's vice president, despite standing against literally everything he's ever said and done as a senator or vice president. The take would not be, she's going to keep Joe Biden honest. It's look how fucking dishonest she is.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes on to continue. Like most women, your former White House colleague, Jennifer Palmieri, pointed out in the Boston Globe last week, she could be even more effective when she's campaigning for someone else other than herself. Then voters don't...
That's still insane. That's still insanely bad, like, syntax, just from a writer perspective. Like most women who also write for the Boston Globe.
It says, then voters don't get uneasy about all that ambition she has. Hey, remember last election? Remember when, like, the Hillary campaign was like, we're bringing out our secret weapon, Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, when
Dangerous Donald,
she knows how to get under Trump's skin.
Yeah, like, remember 2016? They were like, we're unleashing unleash the Warren. Dangerous Donald will not know what's coming, and
he's gonna go crazy and he's gonna shit his pants and start crying because Elizabeth Warren's gonna shred him.
She made like 2 stabs at this publicly, and it was so bad that they just like disappeared her immediately.
Yeah, she was like, hey Donald. It was like she went, hey Donald, that wig of yours, what's under there? Your tax returns? And he's like, here's Pocahontas. It's not the Boston Tea Party, honey. Go home.
Yeah. Liz Warren, like, she was at some fucking idiotic rally in 2016, and she was like, like Matt said, like, Donald, the only thing you could win is an unpreparedness contest. And like Trump called her goofy Elizabeth Warren, and then even the Hillary people are like, okay, get rid of her.
She fled the battlefield in disarray. Kicked her ass.
They were like, get her out of here.
Thing. They brought her out. They said there was tons of articles about how Elizabeth Warren is going to fuck Donald Trump's shit up. She gets under his skin like no one else. And then he said, oh, here's Pocahontas. Bye-bye. And then she was gone. You can't argue the chronology. They put her away. They put her back on the shelf. She's failed.
Robbie Mook held her in his hand and said, I don't want to play you anymore, and dropped her on the floor.
No, she'd be like, the only warming Donald Trump thinks is real is the one in his tanning salon. Then he'd be like, why don't you do a rain dance, honey? Bye-bye. And then it was just...
Compared to Elizabeth Warren's lines, Amy Klobuchar's, I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard, Mr. Umbrella Man, is absolute
saying
fire.
It 500 times. There are a few things that I've seen that are more like nauseating to watch all the way through than that video of her saying that joke over and over and over again.
I love that video.
You get like nausea within like the first 30 seconds, and you're like, how long is this? Oh my God, she keeps doing it. Oh God, oh Jesus. And you just think of what must be in her head to just do that every day. And you're like, my God, these people are fucking monsters.
Or comedians have acts.
Okay.
You don't call Chris Rock a hack for doing the same joke in 2 different cities.
Elizabeth Warren, point number 2. She is progressive. You spent much of the primary campaign trashing her positions and Bernie Sanders, but you may need a progressive on your ticket come November. Klobuchar is to the right of you. Abrams isn't so progressive on some economic issues. By the way, it recently came out that Abrams' favorite book is Atlas Shrugged. So that happened.
Maybe she likes architecture.
That's the Fountainhead.
Well, okay, same idea.
She likes trains. And Harris may have...
Yeah, a train is a type of mobile architecture.
And Harris... There we go. Done.
I win again.
And Harris may have a very liberal voting record as a senator, but was far from a progressive prosecutor in California. It's Warren who is your bridge to the left of the party. She offers the ideological balance you need. Yes, need. There was a multiplicity of reasons for why Hillary Clinton lost in 2016, but the numbers of Sanders to Trump voters hurt her. The numbers of Jill Stein voters hurt her. The number of 2012 Obama voters who stayed home hurt her. Yeah, Mehdi's really getting that point in there really again. That like, they're like, oh, sure. There's a lot of reasons why she lost, but yeah, like all the Bernie Sanders supporters who didn't vote for her, like that definitely really made a difference.
Absolutely.
So wink. Wouldn't want to do that again now, would you, left wing of the party? And he goes, how are you going to prevent any or all of that from happening again? By ignoring the left? Sanders is too old and too male to be your running mate, so Warren is the next best option. Even though he fills all of the things that you just said were so important for Biden to do.
And male.
Oh, but he's he's old and male.
Yeah, a thing that we know America cares about, which is why Joe Biden is the Democratic nominee.
Yes, exactly. And I'm sorry, like all those fucking Democratic, the college-educated white women, he could make fucking Strom Thurmond's body his running. He could his fucking corpse.
Yep.
Strom Thurmond's headstone, they would still fucking line up to vote for him.
No one cares.
There is nothing he can do.
Even the people who claim to care, the people who claim to care, who spent the last 3 years, injecting their garbage careers through the heart with fucking adrenaline by arguing about what the identity of the president needs to be, even they don't care.
I mean, they would proclaim to care, but if Joe Biden came out and picked Tim Kaine
as his baby. That's just content.
Yeah, if Joe Biden came out tomorrow and picked Tim Kaine as his vice president, these people would be fine with it. They would vote for him. They wouldn't lose a single fucking vote. Yeah. From any of the people who are committed.
We already know that
Tim
Kaine wasn't a problem for them. So.
And again, and Mehdi's whole thing is just scolding everyone about how, absolutely, you're totally insane and privileged if you're willing to risk another 4 years of Donald Trump. But he's just he's pitching to, I don't know, Democratic voters who are could be on the fence if Joe Biden doesn't pick the right VP. He should be angry at them for even fucking considering not voting for the Democratic ticket, no matter who the fucking vice president it is.
How dare you make any kind of purity test demands when we have a Cheeto in chief?
So here you go.
There's a damn Cheeto in the White House. How are you caring about anything? There's a Cheeto in the White House. It's got the voice of a man.
Oh my God.
He has feet.
420 plays it.
We've been in quarantine so long that we finally get it. We finally get why that's funny.
I finally realized, oh my God, there's a damn Cheeto in the White House.
It's because he's orange.
There's a Cheeto in the chief.
Oh, well,
you know what? Never mind. We need to do anything we can to stop this monstrosity from ruling over us. This is an affront to God. We risk his wrath every day. He befouls our greatest house.
You guys ready for this?
Hit me.
The Clementine Claude.
Okay, Warren PowerPoint, third and final, and this one you may be familiar with. She's got a plan.
Hell yes.
Fuck off.
We've seen how well her plans work out.
Doesn't that mean her plans are dog shit? Her plans are dog shit.
I will rob a bank and give you all the money, Mehdi, if you never write another fucking article again.
I like that
Please stop.
He's trying really hard with this one. You know what I mean? Like he's coming up with some really original shit that like no one has considered before. So here he goes.
My man loves retweets.
Warren has a plan for almost everything, and often before anyone else. She was the first major presidential candidate to call for the impeachment of Donald Trump. Again, how did that work out? That was a fucking disaster. After reading every page of the 448-page Mueller report, she was the first candidate to publish a detailed... Okay, she was the first... She read every page of the Mueller report. She was the first candidate...
her third place in her own
state. Like a nerd. She did all the fucking reading.
She was the first candidate to publish a detailed plan to tackle the coronavirus outbreak. She continues to make the loud and relentless case for government action to save lives and rescue our economy. Is it like every fucking other Democrat is doing this? Like, who gives a shit?
Also, literally, I'm sorry, like Liz Warren is not a public health specialist. She's not qualified to make public health recommendations.
Like all these like very reasonable liberals who think like, oh, I don't like that Bernie. His people seem like cult members. I like Warren because she's smart and she gets things.
I want her to run the
She's basically like the Dalai Lama or Kim Il Sung. She has internal knowledge of all subjects.
Yeah, I want her to run the corona crisis because she's a law professor.
Well, she has a plan, and plans are totally transmutable. A plan could be for anything. Therefore, she has a plan for everything. She is a godhead. Yeah. She has omnipotence and omniscience.
I tell you what, I could probably do a better job making recommendations for the epidemic than Elizabeth Warren, just because I've had to have first aid training.
Yeah.
I'm more qualified than her. Going to college doesn't make you smart at specific that's not how that works.
No, that's the funny. Like these people worship credentials and they give them magical abilities. Like you rub your degree on your head long enough and you become some sort of ledgerman who knows all subjects.
Yeah, now I can fix a car, you know?
Yeah.
I can perform surgery.
Isn't this the person you want by your side, not just in office, but as you run for office in the midst of an unprecedented crisis? Is there
as you lose your keys, as you clip into a doorway, as you just pour an entire box of Raisin Bran into the coffee maker and yell at it?
Is there a smarter or more competent candidate out there? Well, I mean, yeah, there was one who definitely was way more successful, way more popular, way more successful in the, a business of actually running for office and winning votes and states and primaries and things like that. There's one out there who is smarter and more competent than her. And, but we've already dispensed of that. And isn't competence what you're trying to offer the American people after 4 long years of Trump? No, not at all. No. Not at all.
No, it's body it's a warm body in a seat. That's what he offers you.
I don't even know if he's that warm at this point. He might have an internal body temperature of like 72 degrees.
Yes. He's like a bag of room temperature chowder.
Listen, Jack. In 2013, they removed all my blood and replaced it with a lizard's blood. Now, whatever room I go into, well, that's the situation where I like to say I'm like a radio. That's stupid. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. I'm whatever temperature wherever I am.
Hey, has he gone away again? Did he go away for another week? Because I don't think he's been out again it's been a while, right?
I haven't heard from him.
I'm sorry. The last time I saw him, he was on CNN being interviewed by Anderson Cooper and Sanjay Gupta. This was last week. He was being interviewed by Anderson Cooper and Sanjay Gupta.
Oh, right, where his brain stopped working.
On CNN, and like he sounded worse and less coherent than his
brain just stopped working completely.
Than he ever has before.
Yes.
And find that clip, because you see Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who is probably one of the more credible of the TV doctors. Him and Anderson Cooper.
He's no Dr. Drew.
Yeah, you see there are 3 heads in the boxes, and you see Gupta and Cooper listening to Biden talk, and the look of both concern and fright on Sanjay Gupta's face is so, like, he cannot even hide it. That, like, he's supposed to take this guy seriously, and then everyone has to vote for him, and he's looking at him like he's a patient. It's really something.
Kinds of things that have to be done. There's during World War
II, where Roosevelt came up with a thing that was totally different than he called it the World War II. He had the War Production Board.
Yeah.
That is why anybody who's insisting that you have some sort of moral obligation to support this ticket can fucking suck my balls for eternity. Fuck off. Like, these people are dragging a corpse across the finish line to be in the one position in the world where you can kill everyone on Earth with a press of a button. And they don't give a shit.
And he just loves killing.
They don't fucking care.
He loves killing more than Trump does.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. If you you do believe that like this is the most important election of our lives, and it's like, yeah, there are arguments I'm willing to entertain for that, but it's like, wouldn't you be mad at the Democrats for like bringing out this guy?
Yeah.
I'm not a Biden doomer. I see like a lot of realistic scenarios where he wins, but it's like, if he loses, it's because they put him on a stage next to Trump and he fucking wanders into the craft food service table.
Yes.
All right.
Let's flips into the air.
Let's bring it home. Let's bring it home, gang. So he says here, this is your chance to be the anti-McCain. Remember how your pal, the late senator from Arizona, unveiled the idiotic and unqualified Sarah Palin as his running mate 17 days before the financial crash, announcing the...
No, Joe does not remember that. You're asking that. He literally does not.
It's actually kind of mean to ask.
I remember when John McCain introduced me to his running mate, Candace Bergen. You could still set a watch to those calves. Thank you, Joe.
Announcing the wonkish Warren as you're running. He's hitting every cliche imaginable in this fucking brief for Warren. He's
Mehdi,
I can see that. I can see the sweat coming off of him typing it, like as he really reaches to do something original with this piece here.
He is jacking off while typing this. Mehdi, I will personally lobby the Federal Reserve to buy $7.8 trillion worth of your articles if you promise to never publish them. Please stop. Please fucking stop.
He's
the nadir, but he definitely reflects a really common sentiment about, like, there's this idea that there has to be, like, chemistry and balance between all of these people. Like, it's some kind of, like, ensemble. Like, you got Elizabeth Warren, you got the nerd, you got Joe Biden, you got the jock. So, you got to get the whole Breakfast Club in there. And that's how we're going to have, like, that's how they think.
Exactly.
That's what they think a good cabinet is.
We know how this is going to be governed. It's going to be governed by the party that was willing to kill people, was willing to kill more people to stop Bernie from being the fucking nominee, which means that they're willing to do anything to maintain their version of the party, their version of America, which means that there is no way that Warren as a VP would do anything other than get sucked into the matrix and then would, in a nice bit of historical irony, get to preside over the next version of the bailout, like Will was saying, that she initially opposed on the other side of the table in the first Obama term. Now she gets to carry that out.
Which is, like I said, why I want this to happen so fucking badly. So bringing it home here, it says, announcing the wonkish Warren as your running mate a month after the declaration of a national emergency would send the exact opposite message as McCain's in 2008. Perhaps with a nod to your own age and health, you have said, rightly, on more than one occasion, that the person you pick to be your vice president has to be ready to be on day one to be president of the United States. If that is your key requirement, and I think it should be, then it has to be Elizabeth Warren. It just has to be. She is readier than the rest. She is even readier than you, Joe. Sincerely, Mehdi Hasan.
I think that what all these people want, all the media people imploring him to get Warren on the ticket want, is they want absolution for the what they know they're going to do, which is support the Biden ticket.
Correct. And
they
Mehdi
want that, but also they want. I still think they're operating under the delusion that they can throw dissidents for the Democratic Party a bone. I think they still don't get that we hate them.
I think they still don't get it. I think that's way subsidiary to their wanting to be able to be Biden prostitutes, essentially. Without,
I think they do that anyway. They just use Trump for that. I think there is some element of the fact that they have an alibi. They have an alibi to their critics.
I think I agree. I agree with Matt because like this gets back to what Felix was saying about like, okay, if Bernie's defeat was like a referendum on like a broad class-based like democratic socialist politics, then the defeat of Elizabeth Warren and the really ascendance of Joe Biden is a defeat of all the bullshit that these people have been selling you for the last 5 to 10 years. And with Warren, they want absolution of like the loser who like has the like paper thin representation of like all the shit they claim to care about, even though like as Biden's VP, she will be actively like the active refutation of all of that. But if she's on the ticket, they can cover their own like fucking hollowed out conscience publicly.
Right, but to who? Like they don't
themselves. I don't know. Like
no. I think you figure that they're
to their audience.
Yes, to their readership. Like they're not having like like a long hard night thinking about this shit. Like they're not.
They think that as long as there's still an ambient belief that Warren is a progressive, like that means anything, then if she's on the ticket, then they have permission to flunk for Biden.
Yes, correct. It'll give them permission to like not just begrudgingly support Biden, but like enthusiastically flack for him.
Yes.
And conversely scold other people for not voting for him.
Precisely.
Which is, like I said, why I chose Mehdi, because he is like been the self-appointed member of the left. And by that, I mean someone who's discovered he's on the left in the last 4 years. Like I said, this was, after he tried to work for the Daily Mail.
Opportunities on the left that aren't available on the right.
Yeah, he's trying to occupy a certain media ecosystem right now, and the toll that you have to pay to get there, to be the next CNN contributor as like a voice of the progressive part of America, is to get mad at everyone who's saying that they won't vote for Biden because like that's so privileged and you're willing to risk all of these marginalized people. Then like how comfortable are you that you could think that it doesn't matter that Trump is president, blah blah blah. But my point with this is if Biden will pick he'll pick anyone, it doesn't fucking matter. And if he doesn't pick Warren, what are you going to do then? Are you going to get mad at him?
You're still going to support Biden.
You're still going to fucking you back yourself into a corner where like there's literally nothing he can say or do that would prevent you from voting for him. So like, why do you think?
I remind you, sir, that there is a Cheeto in the White House.
Yes.
Of a natural size, a huge living Cheeto occupying the Oval Office right now.
So, like I said,
teach these devils.
And again, like, why? Just from Biden's perspective, like, why the fuck would you pick Elizabeth Warren too?
What does she bring you? She doesn't bring you anything.
He doesn't like her.
They don't like. She doesn't like. They don't like each other. He doesn't like her. She's pretending to like him.
She doesn't bring them anything electorally. They don't really trust her because of the whole fight over the consumer finance bullshit. Pick somebody who you don't have to worry about and who you actually maybe can get along with better.
And like I said, if he doesn't,
brings you nothing.
And if he doesn't pick Elizabeth Warren, I will be eagerly awaiting Mehdi's next column about what a brilliant choice Meg Whitmer was or something like that.
Yep. And now we're on to November. Let's win there.
Yeah, and then he even says in the piece like what she's bringing to the table is like her plans and college-educated white women who are probably the most reliable Democratic Party voting bloc in the universe.
Yes, it's their quadrant.
Anyway, well that wraps it up for today, gang. Happy 420 again. I'm gonna roll a fatty and just I don't know, just like
blaze it up, baby. Blaze it up.
I'm gonna blaze it up. I'm gonna turn up that Bob Marley loud and watch
Legend, classic album.
Yeah, and I'm gonna watch fucking I'm watching Pineapple Express tonight, boys. Let's go.
That's the funniest movie ever. They smoke so much weed. So obviously it's airing after 420, but like, if you're listening, I hope you had a great 420. I hope you had the best drunk driving of your life. Peace. Let's legalize it. Drunk driving.
All right, guys. Any plugs? I can't think of any. I mean, we got nothing going on.
I would say if you haven't already, we'll include the link. The Teamsters are fundraising to organize so that they can actually be safe at work. It's a really important campaign. I know a lot of people are asking for relief right now. But this is sort of a different. Use of your money. It's not charity. It's not to buy them PPE. It's funds for organizing. So it's an investment in a campaign. And they've got some very serious elections coming up. Essential workers, man. Watch this space.
If you haven't listened to Amber's bonus interview with the Teamsters, please do that already.
With all
and
of
I'd like
them.
to say,
it was a really complicated Zoom call. They were so loud. A lot of yelling.
I'm saying,
Matt Maney, UPS worker from Rhode Island. It's a great interview.
We support the Teamsters, or at least a certain slate in this upcoming election. But if you're the Teamster and you support Chapo, please send us one of those awesome Teamsters varsity jackets.
The jacket.
Those things
like monogram name, Will, Matt, Amber, Felix, the black and gold.
So happy to
the
steal
black and
valor
gold.
from the glorious Teamsters.
Oh, we're not even stealing valor. Like we were valor adjacent to the Teamsters. Nowhere to go but up.
But up.
Solidarity.
It's like being an honorary professor or something. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like being a teacher's pet, but for the Teamsters Union.
What if I promise not to wear it out? What if I promise just to sort of wear it in my apartment?
What if I just keep it in my house?
Yeah.
I'm not
What if I'm not
making any promises.
What if I only wear